always tries to bring your actual state and the desired state in an equal pair. Meaning Terraform always and always try to change the actual state file depending upon what you desire. And here you desire to go ahead and change the mapping. Terraform simply says, you know what, RG is pointing out, the local name called RG is pointing out to demo TFRG, but you now want to change it to what? Dev TFRG. Let's apply it out. Let's see what will really happen. So I'll say Terraform apply. Again, if you see this, plan is doing what? 1 to add, 0 to change, 1 to destroy. You'll have to be very, very careful with Terraforms. Unlike ARM, Terraform is not incremental. Terraform is destructive. You'll have to be very careful on what you're changing in Terraform out here. So now if you do a Terraform apply, let's see what Terraform apply really does out here. This is one of the downsides when you work with Terraforms. It is easier to write compared to ARMs, but it's a little destructive in nature if you do not really mind about this. So that's the reason you have to understand what your plan is doing. That's the reason we run a plan. So answering your question, yes, you can do a Terraform apply directly. But if in this case, if you do a Terraform apply directly, you wouldn't know what the plan does. If you apply it, your entire resource group would have been deleted and a new resource group would have been created, right? Which is dangerous. That's the reason you'll have to understand what a plan does. If this is okay, only then we need to move forward out there such. So let's do a Terraform apply and let's wait for the Terraform apply to load and let's see what it really does out here for me. Is any questions still here? Anyone? Any questions still here that I can take? It yes, which means that the RG name that you gave in local, this also has to be unique, which means that you need to create one more block telling it is RG1 pointing out to dev if you don't want to delete the older one out there as such. Let's wait for this one. I'll say yes. Again, wait for about 2 or 3 minutes. If it still doesn't load, do a control C. It should load out. Terraform has a bit of, let's say, issues in having resources or having loading the resources in your local machine. So just say yes and let's wait for this one to happen and let's see what it does really out there. So it is now doing what? It's destroying the older resource group, which is called what? Demo TFRG. And now in this phase, now Terraform is doing the application, right? Just go back and let's see. Unable to open the terraform.tf state because unable to read an unknown file system occurred and etc. Reason being, Terraform is now using this particular file. When Terraform is updating this file, it will not even let you to read it. Let's see. So it's still destroying. It's waiting for some time to destroy this out. It's telling I'm destroying this particular resource group and all that stuff. Let's give it a minute or two to see what it does and refresh our screens. Again, destruction takes some time. The creation is easier. Destruction takes some time out here. So it's still destroying. It's waiting elapsed time and all that stuff. Still destroying 46 seconds. It will take about a minute or so if I'm not wrong. And once it destroys, let's see this. Destroying and it's 1 minute 16 seconds. Let's wait for a minute and give it some time and see what it really does out here. Is any questions still there that I can take? Anyone? Any questions that I can take till you? Again, guys, sometimes I've observed Terraforms not really performing well in local machines, especially in Windows operating systems. It is a little trickier to, let's say, work with Terraform on a local out there. Alternative to it, you can work with Terraforms on something known as an Azure Cloud Shell. So Azure gives you something called as Cloud Shell out there directly in the portal. It's a PowerShell host that is integrated with the portal out there. So if I click this, I have a PowerShell that is loading. If you see, I have a PowerShell terminal which is loading out here. In your case, when you click it for the very first time, it will ask you to create a storage account. Okay, for the very first time, it will ask you to create a storage account, and it will create something called as a storage account for you. This is a random storage account it went ahead and created for me, inside which, very importantly, there is something known as a file share, on which all your, let's say, scripts are mounted on. So if you go inside this particular file share, I have a cloud console. Inside that I have all these images and all that stuff. So I'll also help you all explain this out, but let's see. So if you check this out, it's destroyed everything and it's recreated it, which means if I go back into the resource groups, now I have what? Dev tfrg, and also state file has what? Dev tfrg out here. Rg pointing out to a value called dev tfrg. If you didn't want this, if you didn't want it to be destroyed, you want just a new resource group to be created, copy this entire block, paste it out here. Very importantly, change this name, say rg1, say demo tfrg, then go ahead and create it out as such. Then do your Terraform plan, then do your Terraform apply. This will make sure not to destroy the existing resource as such. Yes, anyone, any questions? Any questions still here that I can take? One local name should, I mean, it's not like one local name should have one RG, but one local name should be pointing out to a unique set of resources. You cannot change that relationship. If you do, if you change it, it will also go ahead and get changed in the Azure portal as such.
I can.
Good, please.
Yeah, you wrote that resource group one and name how to execute full of the file or only that resource only.
When you say again, you will again have to do the Terraform plan in it and everything. So if I do that, so let's put this in, say RG1, and let's say this is demo TFRG. Your plan is intelligent enough to tell you what it does. Now, again, just compare it out. It's doing a comparison between what? The desired state versus the actual state file out here. In the desired state, you have two things. One called dev TFRG, the other called demo TFRG. Dev TFRG is already present in the actual state. It's already there right now with the name called RG out here. Now you're adding new resource. Now Terraform tells, okay, fine, you know what? Existing resource is already there. I won't do anything with that. I'll now follow an incremental approach. So now if you go back into your plan command, one to add, because you have added a new block that doesn't exist on the actual state, which means that it doesn't exist on the Azure portal. Terraform just goes ahead and adds this out. So yes, you'll have to still perform Terraform plan and Terraform apply, but Terraform plan in this time is intelligent enough to tell you that, okay, fine, you know what? There's only one resource change that you have. I'll just go ahead and add that particular resource out there for you. Yes, does it answer your question? Okay, let's look at this. Can we pull the state file if we are using Terraform for the very first time on an existing environment? Why is it not created a new resource group as a, okay, then the name is different. Why is it not created a new resource group as the name is different? I'm not really sure about this one, but yes, it's a good question telling that can we pull the Terraform? Yes, you can pull the Terraform resource. You can pull the Terraform state file if the environment is already existing. That's a good idea to pull and then start your plan, apply and all that stuff. Why is it not created as a new resource as a different name? I'm not too sure about this question. If you can elaborate on a little bit on this, I can help you with that as well as such. Yes, any more questions here, guys? Can you see history of the changes? I will have to check. I'm not too sure if you are able to see the history, but I'll have to check and I'll let you know if there's a way to check the history of the changes that you performed out there. There should be, but I'm not too sure. But I will go ahead and check that out. Yes, any more questions here? Okay, what if I want to create a storage account under this resource group? Can we try doing a storage account right now? Yes. Again, just go back to your documentation. Say Azure RM. Again, for resource group, it was what? Azure RM underscore resource underscore group. For storage account, it will be Azure RM underscore storage underscore account. So I'll say storage storage. Just scroll down and look for storages out here. Let's see, storage account. Let's see. You have something called storage account. This is a data source, but I want something in resources. Let's check this out. Let's scroll down. Resources, storage account. Get resources, storage account out here as such. Here in the example, it is telling you you will need a resource group. Inside this resource group, you can go ahead and create a storage account. So I'll copy this block. Okay, come down into my template. Is this block out here? Now see, it's resource Azure RM underscore storage underscore account local name. They're telling it is example. I'll say this is storage something like this. Now let's say name, the name of the storage account again 3 to 24 characters, unique in nature, globally unique and all that stuff. So I'll say it is dev tf store abc xyz 000 or something like this. Now it's telling resource group name. Now see, it's telling please go to Azure RM underscore resource underscore group dot. Here it is telling example. In place of example, I need to now give my local name. I can call my local name out here. So I can say it is RG, right? Dot what? Name. Same thing applies to this one, which is Azure RM underscore resource underscore group dot RG dot location. Now it's telling resource RG location. Three different things out here. In case you have a different block called RG1, you want to provision your storage account under RG1 out here. The only thing that changes is RG1 out here. So this is how, or this is where local names actually come into picture. I'll just remove this out for now.
So,
I'll just
is
have
this
a
kind of
hmm?
parameterization, like local names
No,
and dot name?
it's not really a parameterization. I've not introduced the parameterization as such,
Okay.
but
Okay.
these are inbuilt functions in Terraform to call that particular resource group name and the resource group
Oh,
location out here as such.
okay.
Okay. Yes, and I put a name out here. This is great. And account tier standard account replication. I'll say LRS. And also you can give multiple tags out here. For example, if I want to give another tag, I'll say created by is equal to Terraforms. So you can give multiple key value pairs in the form of tags. I'll just save. And also one more thing that I want to introduce in Terraform is called as an output block. It's telling you key value configuration. Just try this out. So it's telling output the instance ID value is equal to something like this. Let's say that after creating my template, I want the storage account ID. Okay, I want an ID for a storage account. So I'll say control space output the storage account ID. I'll say storage ID. I'll say value is equal to Azure RM underscore storage underscore account dot storage dot you can do ID, or you can do something like primary location, primary access keys, a lot of things out here. So I'll say ID, and let's save this out and let's execute our template right now. So now what I'm doing, I'm saying storage ID value is equal to what? Azure RM underscore storage underscore account dot storage, the local name, dot the property, the ID of that particular storage account. And now let's go ahead and say Terraform. Okay, Terraform plan. Now let's see what our plan really tells us, and let's see what our application really does out here as such. So plan, what should the plan tell here right now, guys? What should the plan really do out here? Create one, create one resource group and the storage account. So, but why will it create a resource group? Resource group is already there, already created. So it should provision what? Just the storage account out here as such. That's what it's telling you. One to add, zero to change, zero to destroy. What is it adding? These are all the internal properties of the storage account. So it's telling create storage account v2 lrs this one and id known after apply. It's telling known after apply. I'll just scroll down. It's giving you all these things and it's telling storage id known after application. So now I'll say Terraform apply, and every time when I do a Terraform apply, right, it's coming up and telling me, do you want to really apply? I'm telling yes, no, or something like that. But I know that plan is creating this one. I'll say without passing that yes, no, say hyphen hyphen auto hyphen approve, so that you don't have to go ahead manually pass that yes, no, and all that stuff. Terraform will take care of it. Now it's not going to ask you whether you want to, let's say, do a yes, no, and all that stuff. So now do Terraform apply hyphen hyphen auto hyphen approve and apply this out, and let's see what it really does out here right now as such. So let's see, give it, let's say, a minute or so. Now it's telling plan one to add, zero to change, zero to destroy. Now it's not asking me for yes, no, and etc. because there is an auto approval that I've given, and it now starts creating your resources. And what resource it creates? A storage account with that particular name, and also it will now try to update your state file out here. So if you go into your state file, same thing. It now is trying to update the state file and adding a new block of resource inside it. We'll also check that out. So now if you see, it's creating the storage account. Again, to create a storage account, it will take like about a minute or so, guys. It's a big resource, so it will take a minute or so. So let's see what it does after the storage creation, and let's see what do you see in the output. This is something that I'm curious about, and let's see how the output kind of, kind of is given to you, how the output is kind of spitted out across, and let's see that. Let's wait for a second, and let's give it a minute or so, and let's see what it does. And still waiting, and in here it is creating the resource group inside this particular dev tfrg. So we'll give it a second and we'll see how it goes out. Yes, any questions still here until it creates out? Anyone, any questions still here? Any questions still here? And I did a control C after a minute. It's saying apply complete. It's created one resource out here, and also it's given me the ID of this particular resource, which is storage, something like this product Microsoft storage, and the entire ID out here is let's say outputted out all this ID out here as such. And also let's go back and refresh this out. Now have a storage account that got created in that particular location where my resource group is there, locally redundant storage, and also the tags. It's created this out, and very importantly, let's go back. Let's look at the state file. State file is updated after the Terraform plan, after the Terraform apply command. Let's look at this. You have resources as an array. This was the first resource, rg pointing out to what? Dev tfrg. After this, now you have a new resource block that you see right now, which is managed Azure RM underscore storage underscore account storage. Just scroll down and you have the name out here as such as dev tfabcxyz000. This is also a managed resource out here as such. two different resources out here that you do have as such out here. Yes, any more questions? Any questions here? Any questions still here that I can take? Anyone? Any questions that I can take till here? Terraform script is reusable, but in order to make it reusable, you'll have to introduce some kind of parameters out there, which we'll look at. As of now, your Terraform script is not reusable. It's simply you're going ahead and let's say reapplying it. It's not reusable as of now. But if you want to make it reusable, yes, there is a way, and that's where just read about something called variables in Terraform. Variables in Terraform act like parameters in an ARM template. Just read about this. Understand how do you declare something known as an input variable, and there are a couple of examples out here. I just want you to see this. Just want you to see this. We'll talk about it on what is input variables, how do you perform input variabilization and all that stuff out here. Again, anything guys, go to ARM template documentation. We did this ARM template references and etc. There are references here. Just go here, say template reference. You will get a lot of references out here. For example, let's say you're looking for a storage account. Storage, storage account. Here you have three things: Azure Bicep, ARM, and also Terraforms. Click on this one. It will also tell you how to create a Terraform template. It will also tell you what are the values in the Terraform template and etc. And if you look at the examples also, okay, it doesn't, I don't think it will give you some example templates. For example templates, you can come here and you can look at the Terraform documentation out here as such. So anyways, you're coming, I'm good with that. But until unless you're reading this particular Terraform documentation, I'm good with this. Again, when you come to the documentation, please look at things. For example, can you create a storage account with a virtual network? It has something out here. Example usage with a network rule. It is telling virtual network IDs, virtual network block, IP rules, and etc. It also has something called attribute reference. It's telling name, resource group, location. Again, if you see this, required, 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 optional. Again, account tier, required, replication, required, cross tenant, optional, optional, optional. Everything is optional. There's something called argument reference and attribute references. Just go through it. Go through a particular documentation to understand how to use this. And there's something called imports. We'll talk about that too. Yes, any questions still here? Anyone, any questions still here that I can take? Let's look at the chat window as well. Okay, is there a way to check post deployment? Is there a way to check past Terraform deployment on the Azure portal? Yes, you can do a manual check out here. Normally we do a manual check to see whether it's all there and all. Or you can put a PowerShell script in place to check whether the storage is created or the resource group is created and everything. The second question was answered. Great. Is any questions still here that I can take? Anyone? Any more questions? I'm sorry. Azure Bicep is very similar to Terraform. So Bicep is very similar to Terraform. If you see that format is very, very, very similar to Terraform out here. Bicep is being created on the lines of Terraform out here right now. As of now, no. As of now, Bicep is, I would say, out of 100 projects, 0.1% of projects are using Bicep right now. But yes, the future scope is good. They are doing a lot of R&D on Bicep right now. Again, if you know one of the formats like ARM or Terraform, Bicep is not difficult because Bicep again is on the lines of Terraform. It's very, very similar to Terraform, but Biceps again are only applied to an Azure portal. They cannot be applied only on the, let's say, things like AWS or something like that. So if you have a multi-cloud client, like the client is telling that, you know what, I want an S3 bucket in AWS, I want a storage account in Azure, multiple things out here, Terraform is the way to go. Mhm. Yes, you can use for modification as well. Yes, you can use Terraform for modification, provided the property that you're modifying should be allowed to be modified out there. You cannot modify a name. If you modify it, it just go and simply delete it and recreate it out there as such. So what do we do by Terraforms is that we use Terraforms in a combination with Azure DevOps. And what do we have is that you have environments like Dev, QA, let's say staging, production, etc. Before you deploy it onto an environment like Dev or something like that, we have a testing environment for DevOps engineers. We just go there, test it out, see whether it's deleting something, destroying something. If it's not, then apply it to Dev, move it to QA, move it to prod, and all that stuff. It will modify the storage value. Yes. So it will modify all the properties that are allowed to be modified. Like for example, tags. You don't have to destroy something to recreate a tag. You can simply go and edit the tag, but you cannot change the location. If you change the location, then it's a destructive nature. Yes, access tier from hot to cool. Yes, you can change it. Not a problem. I'm sorry. Yes, you can do the same modification here and change it out. So all the properties that are allowed to be changed, yes. All the properties that are allowed to be changed, you can change it for Terraform. Same applies to ARM. But ARM fails if you say that okay fine it is GRS. Sorry, if you say that let's say the location is different, ARM simply fails telling that you know what I cannot create it bus because the storage account is already there. Terraform destroys and creates a route for you. So that's the biggest difference between ARM and Terraform. ARMs are incremental in nature. Terraforms are destructive in nature. Few reason why a lot of projects today are a little afraid to move towards Terraform, because if I hire someone, I have to train him on complete on Terraform, telling that you know what this is destructive, please don't do it, and etc. And still there are chances for your accounts to be deleted. ARM is not like that. ARM is a little bit friendly if you go with the incremental approach out there. But again, to know ARM, you need to understand where you put your commas, where you put your dots, and all that stuff. Terraforms, you don't have to worry about all these things. It's modular in nature. It's a high level language. You can easily write it. Again, if you see, even in today's session, I haven't written really anything. I just copied, pasted it, changed the properties. That's it. It's simple. It's very easier. Yes. Any more questions here? Terraform CL, yes. Yes, on top of the console. Yes. Even your Azure PowerShell, right? Even that's nothing but a module on top of the console. You did an install hyphen module. Here I installed it directly. Went into that one. MSI did an installation on that. So it's nothing but a module on top of the console. Okay, so that's it from mine, guys. So the assignment for y'all: read about variables in Terraform to make your templates reusable as much as possible. Read about variables. Let me know what you really kind of think about that. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you and have a good day ahead. Thanks.